Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today it is time for the 8K subscriber Q&A, and we have a lot of questions to go through today, and the last time I did this for 7K, it took me an hour and 40 minutes, so we'll see how this one goes. I'm going to do the same format as last time. What I will do is go through each of the questions on the Q&A itself, and I've also asked on the Discord questions, and some of them are, let's say, a little bit ridiculous. But the way I like to see it is the YouTube channels for the more serious stuff, and the Discord is, well, the bit of the wacky place. So let's get started. So we have Axmatexo, who, if you don't remember, I did a replay of one of his replays with the G91. I still use the intro from it quite a few times. And the G91 is an amazing plane, and it was amazing to see a wonderful pilot play it. Do you read anime and watch manga? Isn't it, do you read manga and watch anime? Isn't that how it is? Because, well, Kit, like my wife, she reads manga. Like, she really likes Sailor Moon. I do watch some animes with her. One of the first shows we ever watched was Attack on Titan together. But for me, I like Blood Sea. I also like some of the more like kind of gruesome animes. Full Metal Alchemist is always a favorite of mine. But overall, yeah, I do watch anime. I don't really read manga, though. Most of my reading nowadays is either science stuff or it's history stuff. This is from Kin-chan. What if there were an ekranoplane game mode, either to destroy them or escort them to a certain checkpoint? Yes, I know the history of the ekranoplane for those who question this question. Alright then. So the ekranoplane, I actually had to look this one up because I think I knew it by a different name, and I did know it by a different name. I did just have a glitch there, but everything's okay. See, the ekranoplane, as you can see here, it's a ground effect vehicle. It's a vehicle that is designed to attain sustained flight over a level surface by making use of ground effect. Now, for me, what I remember it being is kind of like a hovercraft idea, and that's pretty much what it seems to be. As you can see here, apart from the air idea, it's just one of those things that's supposed to scoot the water. We have so many things in Air Realistic that should be added before something like this. So paratroopers would be cool ideas, supply planes would be interesting, supply lines for trucks, railways, and it would be nice to see all of these things before something like an ekranoplane, or however you say it, or an ekranoplane. Is it? No, it's an ekranoplane, sorry. So yeah, if we get all of those things added, and we also get rank 6 stuff, I mean, why not? Why not have something as crazy as this? Is it a bit unhistorical? Yes, massively. But at least they tested it, and it would actually be kind of cool to see some hovercraft. Going back to the Command & Conquer days, like Red Alert with hovercraft and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, why not? Why not go a bit crazy? It might be an April Fool's idea, actually, thinking about it. That may be the way to go forward with it. But it would be nice to mainly see those other stuff I talked about first instead of that. What are your thoughts on the 8XF5U Flying Flapjack or the Zimmer Skimmer? I know what the Flying Flapjack is. If none of you don't know what it is here, we'll show you it. It's obviously by our friends at Vought. If you don't know who Vought are, they're the wonderful people behind stuff like the V156. So, yeah, they also had some interesting prototypes, including what is known as the Flying Pancake. This was an incredibly, we'll call it, innovative design, and it kind of flew in a smaller variations of what it was supposed to. So as you can see, this is the main, idea of it. It has 2 massive propellers. It also has the engines in the center. I believe those are engines, right? Yeah, it has the engines in the center, the jets, and then it also has some guns on it. Now, I believe there was issues that it had when it went full-scale model. A lot of the time, especially when you look at British engineers, what they did is they made a third scale model or something, and then to prove that it could fly, and then they would scale it up, and then it would start having issues. I believe the Flapjack had the same issues, but it did fly, or at least the scaled down models did fly. And in that aspect, in my head, the way I see it is, if there's flight data on an aircraft, if it was fully built and tested, even if those tests had issues, it could be and should be in the game. So something like this, I mean, why not? It is a weird and wonderful idea. It could be a great event premium. It would be absolutely awful, or you would have to make it absolutely awful, otherwise it may take over the game, because it would be kind of hard to hit. It's kind of the XP-55 issue, where it's really hard to actually shoot because it's kind of small. But overall, I mean, why not? Why not have the Flapjack around? I would much more like to see something like this. I mean, I call it the pancake, but these guys call it the Flapjack. I would much more see something like this than the BF-109Z, which just got announced. So yeah, that's pretty much my feelings on it. Why not? It was something that flew, so let's go with it. What is the strangest thing anyone has accused you of in War Thunder, other than being accused of cheating? I mean, I've only been accused of cheating once, and that was when I had 8 kills, and it was in the Hellcat, and I was just running around like a madman killing everything. I don't generally get accused of stuff. A lot of people will go like, yo Canadian or yo caveman, so that's pretty much, you know, my existence when it comes to War Thunder in game. Most people are very civil about it. There was one Russian guy who started going off on me, but obviously I don't speak Russian, so I had no idea what he was saying. I have been accused of being a woman a few times, and the beard is a fake, so probably that. Let's go with that. Fake beard and being accused of being a lady for some reason. Will you do tank playing chat videos with the members of your Discord, like your mods or active occupants? I want to do that. I want to start doing that. That is something that doesn't really take a lot of planning, but the issue is I've tried a few of them before with a few people, and the biggest issue I've run into is just wasting an hour with people who can't either get their facts right, or they ask me to cut out a bunch of stuff over and over again because they can't, you know, get the story. And for me, I like the raw editing style, because it means that you get the actual person's opinions on stuff instead of just kind of things they're thinking about at that moment. So if people want to suggest it to me, you know, the main thing is you have to come to me for ideas. I'm not going to come for you for ideas, but if the mods want to try it, if the occupants want to try it, go ahead. Just message me the idea and we'll set up a time. The issue, as I said, is having to approach people and trying to get people to do stuff. It's much better if you approach me with an idea. Just like the lad with the Hurricane Mark II-C. He said, hey, look, I've made this wonderful piece on the War Thunder forums. It's for the Hurricane Mark II-C to be added to the game. Is there any chance you could maybe cover it in a video, or maybe we could have a chat about it? And I was like, yeah, I'll cover it in a video because it's a cool thing. It's a thing I also agree with, so that always helps out too. But yeah, I'm open to the possibility. You just have to send me ideas. Janissary says, congrats, mate. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Kevin Klut... I'm going to butcher this. I apologize. So Kevin is the easy bit. Klutmans is the way I would say it in my native language, but something tells me it's Klujmans, something like that, but I apologize. Congratulations with the 8k subs. You deserve it, man. Now let's go for the 9k. That's very kind of you once again. We're actually a third of the way to 9k already. Basically 300 to 400 subs in a week, so I'm happy about that. Vintersol, who is a resident wonderful person on the Discord. What is your favorite hentai porno, or how did you become such a fat neckbeard? I'm actually not that fat. A lot of people think I'm fat, and that's completely fine, but I just have huge shoulders and a huge chest, If I posted a picture of my dad on Instagram, and we're actually kind of incredibly fit people for our size, but the issue is because of our size, people think we're incredibly unhealthy. But one of the things or mottos, I suppose, which has been with my family since, my great grandparents is built like a brick house. No, it isn't. What is it? Built like a shed, armed like a tank, flies like a brick. Because we're all around about 6 foot. We all have 50-inch to 55-inch chests, and we're out there just to cause, as much pain as possible if somebody annoys us. Like, we're from a weird Scottish tribe, which we're just around just to beat heads. And so, yeah. When it comes to favorite hentai or porno, I don't have a hentai one. When it comes to porno, there was an old one, probably from about 5 years ago, maybe more, called Teens Grand Slammed. That was a not bad one. Watched that a few times during university, enjoyed it every time. Got full satisfaction, I think is the way to say it. But hentai, I'm not into it, really. I don't know. I don't like to fuck cartoon people. Harry Barber. How would you fix higher tier Brits, Charlie and Conk to be specific? The issue with the Challenger, the Conqueror, and also the Chieftain is, unfortunately, the doctrine behind them. So if you look at why the Conqueror Mark II came about, why the Chieftain and why the Challenger came about, they're all defensive vehicles. They're all vehicles which are not designed to be aggressive, like something, if it needs to, like a Leopard 2 or an Abrams, or which are much more multi-faceted vehicles. Same with the Soviet ones. The British ones were massively defensive in mind, very similar to the Swedish tanks, or at least some of them. That's why they cross over really well with the British, especially in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. But the issue with the game is the game isn't built around these machines which are supposed to be powerhouses of sitting somewhere and just holding down an area. Now, maybe if people played them more like that, just covering zones by themselves and making sure that you have a nice layer of Overwatch, that may be the way to fix it. But if we're going to fix it in the term of the battle itself, you have to completely change the game mode to make them fit. And the only way of doing that is to create either a siege scenario, like an attack and defense, or a gold rush scenario, like Fly talked about, like I've talked about in the past from Battlefield Bad Company and other Battlefield games, or some kind of just more battle ones, so where you have a home defense and an enemy zone as well, which you have to capture. So only one aside instead of the domination zones or the conquests that you can get. So yeah, that's basically it. There isn't anything that you can do to the vehicles themselves. I mean, the Challenger, it would be nice to get its actual armor, or at least somewhere near to its actual armor and its capabilities, and also its, I suppose you'd call it battle package, where it had increased armor on the front of it and also on the sides of it. But apart from that, that personally won't really make a lot of difference. The game modes themselves have to change to accommodate them. I still think the Conqueror is still a great vehicle. The Chieftain I've also done well in. The Challenger I don't have any, I don't have any games in, but I'm guessing it's kind of the same, where I would still do okay in it. But it's not going to carry games. It's not going to be the one which goes in and captures the 3 zones and holds off the enemy. It's going to be that I'm going to sit here for 10 minutes, kill as many people as I can, and then push forward and hopefully not get bombed. So yeah. This is from Grant Lee. Nice to see you again, Grant. It's always lovely to see your comments. Would you want to see the ME323 in-game as like a medium bomber with heavy firepower? Now, I just have to make sure which one this is. Willie went a little bit crazy with some of the designs, so would have to make sense. Oh, the 323, this one, the big one, the Big Bertha. I was thinking it was the America bomber that they made, but that's obviously a different one. So, it will get in-game. At some point, it will get in-game. I mean, we already have the BV238. The big issue with something like this is the main reason it was designed, just like stuff like the JU-52, was that they're mainly used for stuff like transports. And the issue with this is you can't really convert it into a game which doesn't really value transport aircraft. So the best thing you can do is try and find a variant of it, which actually was supposed to be used for bombing or something like that, and then use that variant to put it into the game. Very much similar to the BV-238, seen as much more of a transport aircraft when it was at least designed. Nowadays, in War Thunder, it's seen as a bomber. This could be done with the ME-323. This could be the BV-238 of the tech tree. It's a really slow machine. It doesn't have a ton of armaments on it. You can put them kind of where you want to, depending on which model you pick. But overall, you could make some kind of bomber out of it, which would definitely work. Now, calling it, like we're looking at the ME-323 E2WT here, which is the gunship version of it. The issue with this overall is they're comparing it to the YB-40, and if you don't know what the YB-40 was, it's basically a B-17 they stuck tons of 50 cals out of. I think even maybe 30 or 40 of them. So the issue with doing this is that the 323 is never going to compare to that with just the raw firepower. And if you just make a gunship which doesn't have any bombs or doesn't really do anything in the battle, the only thing you've kind of got going for you is trying to get close to enemies and shooting them, because the majority of enemies will just leave you be, or it'll create a situation like with something like a BV or a B-17 or a G8, where it's just incredibly annoying to fight. And after dealing with stuff like B-29s, TU-4s back in the day, and also BVs, I don't want more vehicles like that. I would much prefer it if we got some kind of bomber version out of this, and from there it would have some defensive armament, but it wouldn't have something which would be over the top like it would if you see this like E2WT thing. So overall, yeah, I would love to see the 323, just maybe not in the aggressive sense, much more in like in a bombing sense instead of an aggressive attacker sense. This is Cameraman. Have you read With the Old Breed by E.B. Sledge, The Thin Red Line by James Jones, or In the Heart of the Sea by Nathaniel Philbrick? I have actually watched With the Old... not watched. I've read this. I believe I knew it from a different name, though, so I'm just going to check. Maybe not. It might be the same one. But yeah, because when I watched the Pacific series, one of the big things that I did was I picked up stuff like Band of Brothers, the books. I also picked up all the books to do with the Pacific series. Now, this is like maybe 10 years ago at this point, maybe more. So I read this a very, very long time ago. Let's just see how much it is. I could actually pick it up again. Are you kidding me? Okay, we should get the $1.98 one. I'm not paying that much for that, but yeah. But yeah, overall, I did read this one. I haven't read the other two, but I'll definitely put them on my list. The main things I've been reading recently are just general war books, like I think I showed this last time, like the Trench book, like this one, and also Victory in World War II. And these books, to me, are kind of like cannon fodder, because they don't go into a lot of detail about, you know, specific things, but sometimes they have little tidbits of information that are interesting. So stuff like With the Old Breed by Mr. Sledge are always more interesting to me. So I'll definitely have a look at the other two there that I haven't read. When will the Tiger 105 go? And if researched a little, can I keep it? The Tiger 105 hasn't been fully confirmed that it's going yet, so it's kind of still up on the table. And since they've released a devlog on the BF-109Z, the only reason to take out the 105 is if they have made a replacement for it in the form of probably a Leopard prototype. So my thoughts now is that it's not going to be taken out for a long time. And if it is ever taken out, it will be for stuff like the Leopard prototypes. It is kind of a shame that they've gone back on what they said, or at least it seems like they've gone back on what they said. And they're also trying to balance rank 6 by just throwing more crap at it. So once that's fixed, and once Naval's fixed, or Naval's put in the game, I should say, we're probably going to see the Tiger 105 and the Panther 2 leave. But that's not going to be for a long time. I'm sure they'll also tell people, like at least a month before that they're taking them out, so you won't have to worry too much about, researching them now. When it comes to the Tiger 105 and the Panther 2, though, you should research the Panther 2. It's a really fun vehicle. The 105 can be extremely frustrating, so it's good when fully upgraded, just not good when not fully upgraded. So yeah, it's better to do the Panther 2. But yeah, there is no time on that. We don't know when it's going to be taken out. We just have comments from the lead designer saying that they are thinking about taking it out. But I would say, if you put a little bit of research into it, you'd have to clarify with somebody else. Because for me, if I get told that something is going to get taken out, like the Kingfishers were back in the day, I just research them. I don't, just put a little bit of research into them. A few people think that works, but I don't know either way. So you're going to have to ask somebody else. The Black Baron, I need help. My glass for my cockpit is purple, and the sky has turned purple and a dark blue. Well, that's either a graphics card issue, which it might be. It may also be a PostFX issue. If you don't know how to access PostFX, go to your options, and then go to your graphics in-game, and then go bottom left where it says PostFX settings and fiddle about with it. And what you'll find is there are wonderful all colors of the rainbow for you in War Thunder. And sometimes you kind of screw up with things, like you move something too far and then it makes everything look odd. So yeah, maybe that's happened to you, so that's where I would check. Socialis, it's lovely to see you again, bud. You're welcome. May I touch your face? I believe you're from Sweden, right? So it might take you a while to get over here, but yeah, sure, if you ever meet me, you have my word. You can touch my face. Alter the Wolf, when did you start playing War Thunder and YouTube? War Thunder I started, I think it's now 4 years, 10.5 months. Or it's about 5 years. I think I'm about 2 months off the 5-year mark, so just after Alpha, when I started. YouTube? That is a great question, my dear son. We're gonna find out. Because I think it's about 4 years now. Let's see. Sort by. This is what I want. No, I don't have any unlisted videos, so you don't have to worry. you don't get a sneak peek at any of the upcoming stuff. Let's have a look. Yeah, I did some videos looking at the casebook of Sherlock Holmes. So this is where I started. I started by doing some readings of Mark Twain and Sherlock Holmes to get confidence in just speaking. And it helped a hell of a lot. I also did The Good and the Bad and the Ugly, talking about Shakespeare, why Rome 2 Total War may suck. Obviously, the community's not going to like that one. And then, some War Thunder stuff here and there. But yeah, around about 4 years ago. This one's got 4,000 views. This was my first War Thunder video I ever made. This is back. We're gonna go down an interesting path here. So this was back when I was on the laptop. So as you can see, ultra low quality, boys. I'm using Bandicam as well. Wow. My voice is a hell of a lot higher as well. But yeah, 4 years ago is YouTube. Right. Next one. Nathan. Nathan is one of our resident mods at the Discord server. Mothra or Godzilla? I probably, if we're talking about the one I know most about and the one I'm most interested in, Godzilla. If we're talking about who wins in a fight, Mothra every time. Worst premium tank in the game? If we're being realistic, it's going to be one of the low tier ones, like the A13 or something like that. But if we're just talking about, if we're also talking about event stuff, I think the Lorraine takes the cake. even after its buffs and its nerfs, because it's got reduced speed, but at least it can shoot straight now. But it's still an abysmal vehicle, which is good. I want event vehicles to be like that. If we're just talking about general ones, it would have to be the Chiha shotgun. Was it the Chiha shotgun? It was the shotgun. It was the 120mm shotgun for the Japanese, the pre-release beta access thing. Where it started off okay, it started off one-shotting stuff, then they changed HE and it was, well, not so good. Worst premium plane in the game? Once again, disregarding, like, rank 1 stuff. The XF5F Skyrocket, if we're talking about premium event stuff, because that was an event vehicle. If we're just talking about in general, I'd probably say the D13 right now. I know a lot of people would disagree with me, but the D13 is in a horrible place because it fights super props a lot of the time, and a lot of people used to bitch about it fighting jets. Well, I think facing super props is even worse than fighting jets in that thing, because you don't have an advantage against them. The Spitfire Mark 22, 24, 14, they all just do what you do but better. So probably the D13, especially if we do a price comparison. Stupidest thing you have done to win a drunken bet? It wasn't to win a bet, but I shagged my neighbour's daughter under a bridge, and then fell asleep. That was pretty bad. Are you scared of owls? Not really. I think they're kind of cool. Actually, yeah, I'll go and get them. So, yeah, I'll just turn this off so I don't ruin the surprise. So in my, let's just set this up. Hello, I'm back. So in my room, one of the things that me and my wife have is that we have owls. And the reason for this is because they're cute, and I don't know, every couple has like their little things. And what we have is owls. So these are the two owls. Oop, if I can do them correctly. I'll just check. Yeah, there you go. So these are two owls that I've had for quite a long time. And they sit in my office. And every anniversary or every birthday, as an extra thing, we like give each other some kind of owl gift. So yeah, that's that's what we've... That's what we do. That's one of our little things. So no, I'm not scared of them. I think they're pretty cool, even with the huge claws that they have. Should be a sufficient number of questions. Yeah, it's pretty good questions as well, easy to answer, which is always nice. And Nathan, congrats, man. You've earned it. You make good shit. Thank you. It's nice to see you making videos again, though. Your videos are always great. Peshka Pilot, another wonderful lad on the Discord server, 8k subs. Hell yeah. Nearly, let's get to the 10. I've always wondered about your name, and I'm guessing it's Meow, because of Hello Kitty with an AK-47, so we're going to go with Meow. Nice one and well-deserved, love your vids, thank you, that's very kind of you, just make sure everything's working again. Alvaro Hernani, that is a cool name. Thank you for all the great content, greetings from Spain, hello. Question, do you think they will add the BA-10 or the BA-12 Soviet armored truck? Somebody asked in a Q&A, it must have been ages ago at this point, that, are we going to see more armored cars? And one of the things that they brought up was the fact that, the Soviets had some pretty cool ones, and so did the British, and they did say eventually stuff like the BA-10 and the BA-12 would be in game. Now, the reason I know about them is I first saw them in the early Men of Wars, and I was like, what the hell are these things, They have 45mm turrets, they don't have a lot of armor, they have a few machine guns, they're like 2 crew, it's kind of, a bathtub with a 45 on it. But I think it would fit really well in War Thunder. I just hope that at some point what they do is be able to fix tires. Tires right now in game have weird surface I don't know what surface friction, surface tension maybe. They have issues when it comes to going after different sets of soil and different whether it's like heavy terrain or medium terrain or soft terrain. So the biggest issue, if they can fix that, and it seems like they've at least gone the way with that with stuff like the STKFZ, then I don't see why we shouldn't have these. I think armored cars should easily have their own line in each tech tree, because there is quite a lot of modern armored cars, which would be nice to see. Axmatexo again, are you excited for Battlefield 5? I'm excited to see all the news articles about it, because it's going to be... Sorry, I keep rocking my my table, which keeps making my my camera do a whoopsie. I'm excited to see the controversy it creates to sell games, because that's why the controversy is created, especially when, you're talking about female paraplegics in the front lines. But overall, am I excited for the game? If it goes on offer, yeah. I'm never going to buy a game like that for $60, because I'm just not interested in multiplayer FPSs anymore. I'm also quite bad at them nowadays. I used to be really good at stuff like COD, but I've really lost it. Delaru, 68. Hey mate, I used to play the ZSU 23-4 in arcade before Hullbreak came in. Did really, really well, now no points. One burst from planes, dead, 240,000 silver gone. Now with rockets, no chance. Any respite on this? Cheers. It's an unfortunate thing, isn't it? And the only respite you're going to get is being able to shoot down the aircraft before they're able to get your shots off on you. And in arcade, that's kind of hard to do. So it's an unfortunate thing, isn't it? And the best way I would say it is see something like a ZSU 234 as a machine as a backup. Don't see it as a primary. So when you don't do that well in it, then you won't feel as bad. But if you use something like the Shilka as your primary, and people decide to suicide bomb you, which happens a lot in arcade, then it's not going to make you feel good, is it? So it's much better to maybe focus on some of the tanks in arcade, and then use this as a backup. So when you do use it and, you shoot down a bunch of planes, you feel a hell of a lot better in it. Instead of feeling like you wasted 240,000. Every time I play a British AA, I feel the same thing. It's actually got to the point now that I'm playing around 7-0, I'm not putting an AA in my lineup, which is something I always do, but the British just don't have one. They just have the Crusader AA Mark 1, and I feel like I'm just wasting my time. So I do feel, I do get your feeling, but at least the Shilka nowadays has the radar, so there's that going for it. Ugloke or Ugloke, grats, thank you, bud. Dog for Life, another moderator on the Discord. Number 1, why did I get an unskippable ad for Fortnite when I clicked on the video? Number 2, what are your predictions for at E3 this year? Now, Fortnite is huge, so that's probably why you got it. The last time I did one of these, I had a lad who was talking a lot about getting burger advertisements, and all I've got since then is burger advertisements. When it comes to Wendy's. For some reason, the lad who does the adverts for Wendy's decided to go to England, and he's in London, and he's like, hey, try this burger. And then one lad's like, oh, it's juicy, mate, it's beautiful. And then they're just talking about, oh, well, you have to go to Canada to get the burger. And it's like, oh, can't I just get it here? And it's like, this is an awful advert. Why is this an advert? But yeah, I've seen a lot of that. I haven't seen any Fortnite stuff, surprisingly. Predictions for E3. More information on the Super Mario stuff. Smash stuff, which will be good. Last of Us 2. And, I mean, we got the Fallout announcement, so hopefully some information about that. Bethesda are always bad at giving information, though. So, yeah, that is something I'm looking forward to. I would also like something RTS-y. I don't know what it would be, but the last RTS game that I played, which was kind of fun, which was new, was Grey Goo, and that was kind of destroyed by the super units that they put into the game. So if they created something like that, or another world builder, like there is a game coming out, I'm not exactly sure when, but it's kind of like a steampunk take on the 50s in, World War II, so that could be cool. I'm still waiting for information on Gates of Hell. That still doesn't have a release date, and it's not looking like it's coming out soon, but anything with an RTS bent is what I really, really want. Because right now, the games that I have, the war games that I have, I've played multiple times, and the only one which I really could get is Hearts of Iron 4, even though I've played Hearts of Iron 3 a lot. But yeah, Last of Us 2, and Smash Brothers stuff, and also the Fallout 87 would be this is what they're going to talk about, but I would love to see some kind of RTS. Delaru68 again. Hey TEC mates, other than War Thunder, what would be your top? Top 5 shooter games in the last 6 months or longer. Hope you didn't bore Dad with War Thunder sub numbers too much. Cheers, you sound a bit more relaxed. Yeah, I feel a bit more relaxed. It's been a kind of stressful week this week, but last week I was feeling good. I didn't talk to Dad at all about this stuff. He's more interested in my actual job because this doesn't make any money, so it makes like hobby money, I suppose would be the way to say, but it isn't a living. So to him, it's useless, and I would agree with him on that front. But I think there's much more to it than just the monetary value. When it comes to the shooters, I can't really do the last 6 months because, well, I haven't really played that many. But I would say the Elite Sniper series is always a good one. Sniper Elite is a good one. Medal of Honor Frontline, Medal of Honor Rising Sun, 2 of my favorite games. Call of Duty World at War is always great to go back to and play the World at War mode. What else do we have? I mean, to be honest, I haven't really played a lot of shooter games. I don't really play a lot of them anymore. Insurgency actually is pretty fun. I played that for a little bit. But overall, that would be it. The old Medal of Honor games, the Call of Duty World at War. Just don't play Enemy Front. That would be one I would tell you to stay away from. But all the rest are alright, just a bit dodgy controls. I would really like to see Call of Duty Finest Hour come to PC. I thought with the release of a World War II one, they might do a HD version of it and put it on PC, but they never did, so that was incredibly annoying. Maki-san, congrats again on another milestone, well deserved. Thank you, that's very kind of you. Slavian, what are your personal thoughts on expanding the historical campaigns for War Thunder? Not many people know about it, but it's the Pacific campaign from 1941 to 42, which is brought from Birds of Steel. But should they expand it to other fronts as well, and maybe add tank missions as well? Just curious, love your videos, by the way. It's very kind of you. I would love to see historical campaigns be massively expanded, whether it be through paid content or whether it be through unlocking it, through doing missions through the game, like being able to earn them through achievements, kind of like, with the single missions. The way you do it is by researching aircraft which are used in the single missions, and then you can do the single missions. It would be nice if you could do something like that for the historical campaigns. The issue is that is a lot of development time for something that is not going to make a lot of money, or is not a feature that a ton of people are interested in. So it's kind of sad, because I would love to see it. I would adore to see something like that. That is something that would bring me back to when I was playing, early 2000s Battle of Britain games and stuff like that, but it doesn't make any money. And that's kind of sad. Hopefully World War mode will turn into something like that with the historical side. So yeah, that's probably going to be your best bet, and also my best bet for getting some more historical stuff in the game. Boendel Gaming, or Bevendel Gaming, depending. Congrats again on another milestone, well deserved. I have 2 quick questions. Firstly, what are your thoughts on the Lockheed P2 Neptune, and do you think it could possibly be a good addition to War Thunder in the future? Also, where could it fit? Biggest issue would be in the form of the P2V5F to the P2H P2V7. variants, as they had an extra 2 turbojet engines under the wings which could mess with the current balance. Secondly, in regards to what you discussed with Jengar regarding the P-47s and how there will always be a best plane or best tank at XBR, do you think it's best to keep it like that, or rather nerf or buff vehicles' parameters and shake up the meta and vehicles more? Personally, while I agree it would be a pain because you'd have to relearn how to fight vehicles every buff or nerf, it would be more fun and interesting than fighting with or against the same best vehicle over and over again, as the Hitler Bolt is right now. So we'll go for the first one first. I'm not 100% familiar with this, so we're just going to make sure, because I might have researched it before and then kind of just forgotten about what it is. So let's have a look. Oh, it's this big mumbo jumbo. Yeah, I know what this is. The issue with stuff like this is kind of what you've pointed out. How do you balance something like this? I mean, we already used to have issues with the Canberra. What is actually the maximum speed of this baby? Because it might actually be possible. Like, it obviously flew in many variants, so, and especially if we look at stuff like rank 6, then yes, it should be in the game. No, it's actually not that fast. I thought it was a hell of a lot faster than that, but it does have a lot of bombs. So they could give it the Lincoln treatment, where they could keep its maximum speed and make it heavy as hell, but also not give it its full bomb load. Otherwise, you may have a few issues. Does it have any offensive armaments? No. So just rockets and bombs. They tested vehicles which didn't have any weaponry before, so the B-57s in the game. B-57? Oh my god, I'm losing my mind. I need to make sure on this one as well. Let's have a look. It's the Canberra, yes. So we have two vehicles, the British and the American Canberra, which don't have any guns on. People complained for a hell of a long time because they were at too low of a BR and nobody could catch them, and if they were put against propellers, there was literally nothing you could do. You were just hoping that the bomber would crash on the airfield. And then we got the Vautour, showing that they are still open to the idea of non-offensively armed aircraft, so we could put this in. The issue is the speed. I don't think the speed is quick enough for the BR that you could put it at. The next question about the P-47. For me, the way to do it is to keep the vehicles as historical as possible. So buff and nerf, to me, doesn't really, make sense. The only thing that it kind of makes sense to is the guns. But when you talk about flight performance, it should be as historical as possible. So with that said, how can you balance the game around it? Well, you change the gameplay dynamics. You change the amount of stuff that's on the ground. You change the objectives. You can even change the amount of spawns and stuff like that. And hopefully that would help instead of buffing or nerfing vehicles to make them unhistorical. I do like the idea of historical stuff in game. I know a lot of people prefer the balanced side of War Thunder. Like, they want War Thunder to be more balanced than historical, but unfortunately for me, I sit on the historical side. I would rather be historical, and then you create the scenarios to balance out the machines. Unfortunately, they haven't done a great job of doing that, so hopefully they will one day. Gunmaster X11. Do you think patch 1.79 will be the updates when the Tiger II 105 and the Panther II will be removed? No, I don't think so. They have... Oh, what's the word? They would have announced it by now. Like, we already know that update 1.79 is coming pretty soon. I think that's pretty obvious to everyone. So, they would have announced that they're getting rid of them. Patrizio Riolo. If that's your actual name, absolutely wonderful. Also, Gunmaster, once again, thank you for the comment. I do recognize you from a very long time ago, so it's always nice to see old faces. You have some information on the new German top-tier new tank. It will be in this patch. We will see some prototype or a production tank, like the Leopard 2A4. Well, because this was a week ago, your prayers have been answered. You yourself get a 2A4. Now, the issue with this is once they add the 2AV in game, are we going to get another XM1 situation where it's a premium? I really hope not. But also, the 2A4 had different armor on it depending on when you wanted it, so we're going to have to see what Gaijin does to balance the machine. Whiskey252, nice to see you again, bud. Also another wonderful active person on the Discord. How many War Thunder memes are made for every one complaint on the War Thunder forums? At least 10, depending on where you go. If you go to Discords and War Thunder Reddits, I'd say it's about 20. If you go to the forums themselves, it's probably about a 1-to-1, because when they make the meme, they get banned. This is from Nick. Shall we rise the Fourth Reich of TEC? This is Hans from your Discord. Hi Hans, hope you're doing well, man. I'd rather not. It might give me a bad reputation. So we'll call it someone else. How about that? Visky252. Is 10k going to be any different in any way from the rest of the milestones? I have a few ideas planned. The first one is... I'll tell you about one of them, which is probably the one I'll do. I was thinking, I could do montages and stuff. That would be easy to do. I've already done some mixes of Churchill's speeches and music to put, gameplay to. But I think there's a map. It's the south of England, and what you can do is you can traverse it in a tank, and it's all to scale. So it takes you about 2 to 3 hours in a 70km/h Cromwell to be able to skirt the southern border of the sea for War Thunder in the south of England. You can also go over to France in that map. And I was thinking about doing something like that. There was something that NerdQ did, which he played Desert Bus for hours and basically answered a bunch of questions. And I thought, I could probably do something like that. I think that would fit me much more than montages or stuff like that. We'll also do some big giveaways, because that'll be the right thing to do. The big Daniel D. What would be a good substitution for the Tiger 105 and the Panther 2? And it looks like Vendel Gaming has answered it. But basically Leopard prototypes, and there isn't really a heavy that you can put in the space of the Tiger 105 unless you want to go on historical again, so like the E50 or the E75. So I would personally like the SP1C, change it up a little bit, have a bit of different playstyle. The Barrel Roach, can you give any examples of early helicopters that War Thunder can add to ground forces? And then we have some stuff from Kinchan. What I'm going to do with this, I'm not going to answer this right now. And the reason for this is because, first of all, I am making a full video on at least like 1 or 2 helicopters that each nation could have, which is not the same helicopter. And that's the key thing. Because you could give literally 2 helicopters across the board to every nation. What I mean by that is the Americans, basically everybody could use the Americans' helicopter, the Soviets could use their helicopter, the Germans could use their helicopter, but everybody else could also use it, because everybody's used it in the past. It's the Sabre conundrum again. So what I've been doing over the last few weeks is gathering a lot of research and working on a video for the early helicopters. The issue I have basically is I'm going into this like bare-skinned, because I've never really looked at helicopters before. I understand how they fly, I understand why they're useful, but I've never looked into the minutiae, so that's why it's taking a longer time to talk about helicopters. So yeah, I'm gonna make a full video on that, don't worry about it. Lawrence Best, once again, lovely to see the name. I also recognize yours. What do you think of the performance of the German Dora series Focke-Wulf 190s in the current patch, and do you think the P-47 needs the intercept to spawn on all maps? The Doras, so what we're talking about here is the D9, D12, D13. I am so sad about them. The D9 was my favorite German plane, and it was gutted. Because its big advantage that it had, its dive, its speed, its elevator, was completely gutted from it, and it means that if you go fast now, you basically just lock up hardcore. And it's sad because it was a great machine. It had 13s, it had 20s, you didn't need the big guns. It was all about outplaying your opponent with the setup. Nowadays, it feels like a brick, and so does the D12 and so does the D13. I would personally like them to reverse the changes to what they were, or at least create something, either lower the BRs or make it a bit more historical instead of just making it so the elevator just locks up at a certain speed, because it shouldn't really do that. The P-47 I still think should be airfield spawn every time. I don't agree with the arguments that, you know, it won't get up to height in time, because the big issue with that is you could just wait 2 minutes and you'll be at height. You'll also find out that a lot of people on the enemy team will already be dead, or your team will be dead, and therefore you can mop up. Basically, what we used to do with the P-51, I have a really good KD and a really good win rate in the P-51, back when a lot of people were complaining about it. And the reason for this is because we would squad up in either 2s or 3s, we would go and we would climb, we would wait that extra 2 minutes, get to 5,000, get to 6,000, and then beat the Germans at their own damn game. And I wish that, if the P-47 gets an airfield spawn, people realize that you can do that. So hopefully, you know, that's what they do. And then Cryptid TV, 8K woohoo. If you could pick, what plane and tank would you have added? So I'm guessing this is in reference to War Thunder. I would add in the Valiant tank. It wouldn't be any good, but it would be funny. It would be a good event vehicle. I know that there is a higher tier tank, but I can't remember what it is. I mean, it would be nice to get some kind of British premium, which wasn't awful. So like the STRV 105, I think it is, or the 104. Something like that. Basically a Centurion with the ERA and upgraded optics. But yeah, the Valiant would be nice to see, and the plane, I would like to see the Whitworth Whitley. The Whitley is the only plane that would complete the British bomber lineup for me. I understand there's the Manchester, and there's other planes as well, but for me, if we get the Whitley, then, you know, no more complaining about the British bomber line, apart from the Lincoln's bomb load. I will keep complaining about that. So yeah, I would like to see the Whitworth Whitley. If you don't know what it is, I'll show you. Whitworth Whitley. It is a pencil bomber from the mid 1930s to the early 1940s. It was mainly used at the start of the war as giving people pamphlets, so propaganda tickets. And also it was used for some bombing until stuff like the Lancaster, the Halifax came along, and they realized that this thing was absolutely abysmal, so that, you know, most people didn't want to fly it. But yeah, it would be nice to see that, to be honest. So yeah, I would like to see this. I know it's not flashy, I know it's not cool, it's not a flapjack, it's nothing like that, but it holds a special place in my heart, because when I was reading Yorkshire Airfields of the Second World War, it was something that kept coming up from the pilots, and they basically said if our bird was struggling, we would have to use the replacement Whitley, and my God, nobody wanted to do that, because across the English Channel, it couldn't get up to height, it would get shot up by AA all the time, it was slow as hell, the engines didn't turn over well because they used to get iced up because it wasn't going fast enough. There's just so many ridiculous stories about the Whitley, which I would love, I would love to make videos on. Right, so, who's this? This is Fabi. Right, I'm not going to show that. So, I asked some questions. Actually, no, you know what? I'll just check this message. So, what I'll do is that. Hello. Okay, so Fabi asked in a DM, why is there European in your name? Because the British Canadian was taken. So what I wanted to be when I started was the British Canadian, because obviously I'm British and I'm living in Canada. The issue with that is that wasn't allowed because somebody had already taken the name. So what I had to do was be able to... let's go back up. There we go. I had to pick a name which was not that, which was something similar. So I went for the European Canadian, and it's going to be a bit of an issue when Brexit actually goes through because people are going to get very confused. But I think that's, that'll be fine. Still, people will still get it. I thought about the Scottish Canadian, but I don't sound Scottish, even though some of my heritage is from there. But yeah, British Canadian, the British Canadian, all of that was taken. European Canadian was taken, so I had to go for the European Canadian. So that's why I am TEC instead of a TBC. And to be honest, I think TEC or TEC is a lot easier to say than TBC, or at least for me. Right, okay. So, I asked for some questions on the Discord. OP Senator, being a smartass, you sure you want me to ask you stuff? Hell yeah. Peshka Pilot, as we saw from before, why are you so nice and informative? I just don't see why not to be. If you're going to be angry and annoyed all the time, I do get angry and annoyed. You just don't see it in videos. A lot of the times I'll be playing. I mean, some people will have seen it on the Discord. I mean, there was a few times getting annoyed at the P47. But in my videos, to get the points across the best, it is much easier to be direct, to be nice, to be informative, and then when I actually do get angry, such as in the BF109Z video, people understand that I'm serious about it. So instead of just being hyped up all the time, instead of just being annoyed all the time, it's much better to pick your battles, because then if you do that, you sit yourself in a position where if people know, the difference between you just being normal and you being serious, then they know when you're serious. So, yeah. And then OP, easy, he's Canadian. That'll never die. I'm not Canadian, I'm British, but okay. I'm nearly going to be Canadian, actually. Do I like potatoes? I absolutely adore them. They're one of my staple foods during university, along with stuff like noodles, and the reason for this is because they were cheap as shit, and they're still cheap as hell, and I love them. You can get 2 kilos for $2.99 where I'm at. Absolutely pucker. There's also so many ways that you can make them. I love myself some mashed potato. It's always a good time. Ash, if you don't know who Ash is, he has his own War Thunder channel. I'm subscribed to him. He's another Aussie YouTuber, and he's always nice to listen to. Always either makes fun videos or videos making a really good point. So I would definitely say go seek him out because he's well worth the watch. Do I like cheeseburgers? There are better burgers out there. I would say I do like stuff like steak burgers with onions and shallots. But if cheeseburgers are about, yes, I will take them. I do like... one of the issues that I have right now with Kit is lactose intolerant. So most of the time, I don't have stuff like cheese or, any dairy products, just... because there's no point. There's no point in buying a bunch of cheese because I just won't eat it all and it'll just waste. So if we go out somewhere though, hell yeah. Give me some pickles, give me some onions, give me a bit of pepper, give me a cheeseburger. We're going places. I mean, it might come out the other end pretty bad, but still tastes nice. Radial. Favorite theatre in World War II and why? I suppose it depends what you class as a theatre, really. I mean, the Western Front is the one I've done the most research on, and the Eastern Front and the Western Front are basically equal amounts of research. If I'm talking about my favourite, I have been doing over the last few years much more reading into North Africa, and that is fascinating, especially when it comes to the German sides and what they were doing. So I would personally say right now, the North African campaign led by Rommel and also the counterattacks from the other sides, because it's just amazing what happened through that. But I do need to do more reading on the Pacific. That is something I need to do. I have done a lot of reading on individual islands, but not about the whole grand tactics behind it. Just some very preliminary reading, so I'd like to do that. Adrift, how are you? I'm pretty good, thank you. What magic do you use to form such a lustrous chin mane? I don't shave, and I'm old. I don't know. I mean, what do you want me to say? I went to the Greybeards in the Elder Scrolls Skyrim and was like, There is something that needs to make me stand out. What do you have? And they're like, oh, well, we can make you scream so you can throw people off mountains. Or we can make it so you can control animals. And instead I was like, I'll have a chin beard. And then they looked at me weird, and then there you go. Fabi, do I like maple syrup? Only in little bits. I actually find it kind of sickly sweet. I don't really have that much of a sweet tooth for stuff. I'm much more of a... I like to eat pies, like steak pies and, hearty food from Yorkshire, like Yorkshire puddings and big roasts. But yeah, maple syrup is slightly sickly sweet for me, especially, golden syrup is way too sweet, and maple syrup it's okay in a little bit, but yeah, overall, bit sweet. How is Babby made? I believe last time we decided that they were made in Indonesian sweatshops, so I'm going with that. Can jet fuel melt steel beams? Hell yeah. OP saying yo. Hello. Hello, OP. How are you doing? Radial. Open Bob show Vajane. What? Muammar Gaddafi? Was the German sinking of the Lusitania justified? No, not well. This is a great topic. I could make a 2-hour video on this, but I'm not going to yet in this one. But basically, the Lusitania idea is that it was a person ship, a transport ship for people, but it was being used to also move stuff like munitions and armor and arms and stuff like that. So the question is, were the Germans justified in sinking it, since it was using that dual role to get past them? Now, did the Germans know this information? Yes. Did the Americans also willfully do this? Yes. So therefore, were they justified in it? Yes. The issue with it is if they hadn't done it, I believe America would have gone into World War One in some other way anyway. But it kind of became a catalyst. But overall, when it came to it, I would actually say yes, they were justified. Just like this is kind of a moral attitude, I suppose. But let's say, why are you doing that? Okay, let's say you are willfully using yourself as a human shield. And you are protecting people who are in the part of war, and you are willfully doing this. Is it justified for somebody to shoot you if you are able to kill the person behind them because you're willfully protecting them? Now, in that case, I think the answer is yes. But in the case of the Lusitania, the people on board probably didn't... maybe they knew about the risks, but they didn't believe that it would happen, or maybe they just wanted to get to England. In a time of war, though, it is very odd. I would actually say yes to that. We need to do that Q&A with the GM stuff. Oh yeah, if you didn't know, OP is a manager of many things. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a talk with him, talking about War Thunder and also, how it relates to him and what he does for the game. And I think it'll be kind of interesting because a lot of people don't know the crowd, what would you call it? Like kind of the management side of the game, or the social management, I suppose you'd call it. And I think it'll be really enlightening to do it with OP because he's really well spoken and he's also a guy who's heavily involved in it. Dalian, to be or not to be? That is certainly the question, sir. I thank God I never have to read Shakespeare again. The thing I have with Shakespeare is, if you write so many plays, it's the monkey theory. If you write so many plays, eventually you're going to get few which are all right. You never hear about Shakespeare's 10th play or 20th play. You hear about the same ones every time. And the reason for this is because all the others are dog shite. And they really are dog shite. So, yeah, that is an issue for me personally. So, yeah, I got so sick of doing Shakespeare for AS level English because we started getting into the plays which definitely weren't as good as his OG ones, which you learn at GCSE. OP is a GM. Radial, do you think and therefore exist? Do I have to get philosophical? I'm already an hour into this. Yes, I do exist. So do you. So does everyone. Everyone has their own little space, whether it is through spiritually, whether it is through belief, whether it is through anything. You exist. You exist as an entity that I can interact with. Therefore, because I can interact with you, I also exist. Adrift. Do you know the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise? I watched the Jesse Cox podcast on it. I used to watch, because him and a few of his friends do Star Wars podcasts about the books, and I remember listening to about where it was from, and it sounded really convoluted, but I got so sick of watching their podcasts because one of his mates would say like every second word, and I just could not stand it, so I just gave up. But no, not really. If you have any information, that would be cool. Sushi Fabi, back to work. Is this Discord? I believe so. Adrift? I hope so. Our trebuchet superior to catapults? Or onagers? I'll tell you an interesting thing. So, I went to Warwick Castle. In Warwick Castle, they were building a trebuchet there, and I think it's fully functional now. But when I was there, they were still building it. This might age me a little bit. But I was amazed at how large it was, so I decided to look into trebuchets and how they worked, and I realized it would take them ages to be able to fire rocks or do anything with them, and I was like, I suppose this is kind of interesting, but it takes you so long to do anything with them, so how can they be superior to something like a catapult? I mean, it also depends on what you're fighting. If you're fighting large walls, I mean, the best thing is to actually go through sabotage and try and infiltrate instead of trying to knock down those walls. But let's say you have a large wall which is flimsy. Yeah, trebuchets every time. But anything else? Catapults or onagers. Such a better idea. Mitchell, TSE, me, big boy. Do you have any special talents? I play cricket. I play rugby. I row a lot. I can woo with a sentence. I don't sleep a lot. I can stay up for days just doing work, which seems to be something that my employers really like. But no, not really. If we're talking about real special talents, no. I mean, I can do this, right? Can you do this? It's hard to do. I'll understand it if you can't. I just want to make sure that you get a full grasp of this. So we have the two hands together. See? Can you do that? Bet you can't. It's a tough one. A really tough one. Dalian, Minecraft or Roblox? Minecraft, every day. I've never played Roblox and it looks really silly. Darlings, and also the Minecraft modding is just insanely fun. Darlings BB, is this question a good one? I mean, the fact that you had to edit it means that you screwed it up, so that's kind of funny. But yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, sure, why not? Radial, do you play the skin flutes? Not as often as I used to, but yeah, I still have to give it an old toot every once in a while. Fabi with the anime orgasm face, I think. Adrift, can you let me play the Xbox now? Mum said you should. Nah, unfortunately I chucked it out the window and set it on fire, so yeah, I'm sorry. No Halo 3 for you. Rocker, how can she slap? Like that. The Peshka Pilots. Question 2. Why did you start your channel? Something that I think a lot of people should have a look at. I think the description is still the same. Might be wrong. Yeah. Hey everyone, basically I'm an Englishman living in Canada. I'll be posting mainly gaming videos, commentary on certain things I find interesting. I've never been a strong speaker, so I'm hoping to use this to help me gain some confidence in my public speaking. Any positive or negative comments are welcome, since I believe you can only really learn from your mistakes. This is the core message I've had since 2013. This is the same core message I believe in today. Do you wipe with your right or your left? I actually wipe with my right. Just because The way our main toilet is situated, it's next to a counter, so I literally can't get my arm around, so got to do it the right. Top or bottom? Depends how I'm feeling. Like, this is from Darling's Baby again, or BB. To be honest, it depends if I've worked out that day or not. If I have worked out, it's top. If I haven't, it's bottom. Nico Nako, left or right? I think right is always the best. Adrift, what is War Thunder? It's the thunder of war, baby. Get on the wild ride. Get on Anton's crazy train. Radial, which way does your meat hammer curve? I think I'm a straight boy. I don't think... Actually, no, thinking about it, it's got about a 5 degree to the left. I think. It's either left or right, it's about 5 degrees. It's not a lot, but it's definitely there. Nico Nako, what is love? There are many things that incorporate it, but I'll give you one word which incorporates love. Cockroaches. Adrift. Question? Well, you tried, mate. Rocker, how did this go downhill so quickly? Because it's the Discord, and it's very disorganized. Red Andreas, which is a mod, is one of our wonderful German mods. What's got you to play War Thunder or tank games in general? Tank games in general is just interest in World War II. My granddad getting me into World War II and getting me into the ideas of World War II, some of the tactics around it, mainly around the Battle of Britain and stuff like that, and then expanding from there. What got me into War Thunder is playing World of Tanks, running into Tier 5 and going, why is everybody hitting me with gold, and why don't I have any modifications, and why do I have to buy stuff in order to be competitive, and why am I getting against Tier 7s who are annihilating me? So yeah, it was basically the matchmaking in World of Tanks and the gold at the time, because you got to remember this is like 5 years ago, so gold ammunition was a thing. How get a girlfriend? Go talk to people. Expecting us to be serious, exactly. Naked Snake. If War Thunder extended its tech tree to reach into modern semi-futuristic era, the Armata, M1A2 SEP, Leopard 2A7, would you support the idea of splitting it from the World War II tech tree for the sake of player grind? I already support it. I think rank 6 should be its own tech tree. I think, personally, when it comes to rank 5 and rank 6, I think it should be NATO and Soviet Pact tech trees and do it like that. But I understand why they don't do it, because they want to extend the grind. But if we ever get those modern semi-futuristic stuff, I mean, I'm already not interested in rank 6 stuff, so I'm not going to be interested in rank 7 or 8. Simple as that. So it doesn't really bother to me. If people want it, then go for it. If we're talking about splitting the tech tree, I think it already should have been done. We can make you guys act serious. Better ask Discord some questions. I love the emotes that we have on this thing is great. If you want to have a look at the emotes, I put them all here. I'm not sure if we added any, but they're wonderful. Alright, hopefully it's... No, it hasn't. Oh, yeah, here we go. Kill your family or an entire race. I'm a pacifist, unless it comes down to war. And if we're talking about war, I mean, I don't know most of my family, so that'll be kind of hard to track them down. I'd rather just not kill anyone. Muammar Gaddafi, what are the childhood games you like the most? Command and Conquer series, Medal of Honor, and also stuff like Theatre of War. Theatre of War was really cool, and also Faces of War was really cool as well. Fabi, with the correct answer to everything, WTF. Rocker, who's the best War Thunder YouTuber, and why is it Fly Daily? I was surprised. I was watching Fly Daily's stream today. I didn't realize how annoyed he got at the game. Especially when he was playing Jets. It was kind of funny to watch. But yeah, he makes quality content. I personally like some of the other YouTubers. If you want to know the YouTubers I enjoy watching, guess what? I have them listed on my channel, so you can go and have a look at them, instead of me going through them every time. Liquid soap or bar soap? Bar soap for the shower,
liquid soap for washing your hands. That's how I've always done it, and it's never done me wrong. Works every time. What got you into World of Warplanes? You know what? I'm kind of intrigued to try it. I've never actually tried it. I've only watched videos on it and live streams, but it seems kind of like a dead game. But it may be interesting to try. I've played games like that a lot before, but just not on the MMO scale. But yeah, I mean, as I've said before, you can run about 2 free-to-play games at once, and right now I'm running Path of Exile and War Thunder. Anything more than that, you just don't have time to do it. And then me clarifying something, the racist remarks are kind of necessary. Yep, that's why I deleted them, or most of them. Piston or rotary? I kind of like rotary, to be honest. It always sounds better to me. Yeah. There's me clarifying, getting rid of the racist ones. Who's your inspiration to start YouTube? I didn't really have one. I mean, if we talk about people who I respected in the YouTube community, I love it how they're adding more as I'm going, by the way. I need to have a cut-off point at some point. If we're talking about people who I idolize in the YouTuber community, Total Biscuit was not an inspiration, but it was always a standard to listen to. So if you could emulate an experience like TB could, or emulate something like it, then to me that was a great standard to hit, because what he would do is he would hit all of the points that you needed to know about a game. He knew everything that he needed to know about the game, and he gave you a great review of the early parts of the game, which are always the most important ones to the general person. And his co-optional podcast I always used to enjoy, and to see him gone is incredibly sad, to be honest. Seeing an inspiration go in that way is horrific to the average person. And to me, even though, I didn't know him, he didn't know me, I don't know anybody who knows him or anything like that, whenever you have somebody like that who is gone, and you know for a fact that they'll never make new videos on a new game or something, it does make you feel sad inside. And it does make me feel sad as well, seeing he's gone. What is your favorite meme, and why is it this Discord server? This Discord server is pretty good for stuff like memes. We do have a meme section if you want to join. Why are radial engines superior? They sound better, and also because the British use them, or at least a lot of them. Shaken or stirred? I'm very much a stirred guy. I don't really like shaken stuff. Favorite engine of the war? That's an interesting one. Probably the Bearcat engine. The Bearcat engine had so much power behind it, which is kind of surprising for, the size of it. Also, the Merlin engine is always a favorite just because of how much it did throughout the war, especially when we look at the British bombers and the fighters of the British. What made you interested in history? My grandfather. Well, I shouldn't say history. What made me interested in World War II was my grandfather. What made me interested in history? School. Learning about the Tudors, ancient times, Rome in the early years made a massive difference and impact to me wanting to know more about that stuff. Have you ever thought about infiltrating Gaijin and adding yourself as a premium tank? What type of tank would I be? I would have to be some weird... I would be an M4A5 Ram, wouldn't I? Or something like that. I have thought about trying to get like a decaling game. Like, I know they'll just take my profile pic and do it, but we had a competition the other day to see, what decal we could come up with, and somebody came up with a wonderful dragon being porked by a guy with my face on it. So yeah, there's that. Who would? Brown rice or white rice? Brown rice as of 3 years ago. It's just better for you. Why am I your mum's pimp? My mum's actually dead, so that doesn't work. She died a few years ago. Can I get an encore? And do you want more? It seems like it. We're up to 134 now. Was this really a good idea? And if you say yes, are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. I did this last time, it went well last time, and it's going well this time. What is your opinion of the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 2? I had both of them. I had a big PlayStation 2 and it died, so I got a slimline, and then I had the 360. If we're talking about games, I think the PS2 was pretty cool. If we're talking about my time with it, I'd say 360, just because I had a lot of friends who played it, and we used to play together stuff like Halo 3, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, and I do miss those times. I also play NHL hockey with people sometimes, but yeah, that's pretty much it. What's my answer to the Jewish question? I don't know. What is the Jewish question? Do you mean like the super? They like control everything. I mean, they have, on average, they have pretty high IQs, so it would make sense that they are in higher positions. Whether they do it to, push forward this grand Jewish conspiracy. I mean, if that was the case, they would just be shagging everything. But for some reason, they're not doing that. It's kind of like the arguments for like if you wanna destroy, like. This is going a bit off topic, but I think you'll understand it when I get to it. You know how the media has been talking a lot about the alt-right and how they want a white supremacist US, whether that's true or not, depending on who you talk to. But the main thing is, let's just say it's true, right, for now. The best way to get rid of black people out of America is by outbreeding them. And what I mean by that is sending your strongest white men and breeding with the black women. Then eventually you just have a white country. But for some reason people don't think of that. And that's kind of how I see the Jewish question as well. Like, if they wanted to take over, they would just have a ton of Jewish babies. But they don't seem to be doing too well at that. It seems like other groups are doing that instead. Can I send you my homework questions? Sure. I mean, why not? I'll have a crack. Are you a good girl? Oh yeah, baby. What the fuck? Yeah, exactly. Who had a better KD, Stalin or Hitler? I mean, depending on if you want to add your own people, I think Stalin had a better KD if you add your own people. If you add others, it's definitely Hitler, innit? Why did McChicken Bites die? I don't know. I've never talked to him. He followed me on Twitter like about a month ago, but I've never talked to the guy. It would be nice to have a chat with him, but my guess is just frustration with the game, just like a lot of people. As somebody... you gotta remember, McChicken Bites focused on a very small part of the game, which is the jet combat. And since jet combat hasn't really been changing that much, then you're gonna get bored of it really quickly. So the best thing to do is try and diversify through things, and if you can't do that, then you're gonna be stuck, and you're gonna get really bored really quickly, and that's basically what happened. Or at least that's what I think happened. It'd be nice to have a chat with him and see why, though. Are we making you laugh? Kind of. On the inside. I'm trying to be serious for the video. Blue and black or gold and white? Oh, that bloody picture. It's gold and white. When will this Discord get a furry channel? I mean, we have hentai. Do we need a furry channel? I mean, the thing, you gotta remember, a lot of people ask me to do stuff, like give them roles and to create channels. Everything is done to committee, basically. So the moderation team will decide if we need one or not, and then that is, their decision. I'm just kind of here as an overlord doing other stuff. So if you have any questions, go ask them. Don't ask me, because it's up to them. Or whenever you ask me something, I send it to them. So it's as simple as that. So instead of, just cut out the middleman and just talk to them. OMG chicken bites, redfish or bluefish? I suppose red is nicer to look at. Favorite plane and or tank? Hurricane Mark 1 for the plane. For the tank, I'm still kind of undecided. I'm loving the Hurry production right now. For me, tank favorites is very much flavor of the month. But for plane, it's always going to be something like the Hurricane Mark 1. Was anime a good idea? It was a wonderful idea. Flappy Bird or piano tiles? I don't know what piano tiles is, so I'll go with Flappy Bird. We're two bums enough. So this is reference to the new king of Japan. I think so. I think one bomb was kind of enough. If we drop a third one, will there still be anime? Yeah, it would just be massively screwed up. You got to remember, Western anime exists, and no matter if you annihilated Japan, anime would come from somewhere else because it is just such a special thing. It depends on how big the bomb is. What is your favorite song and why is it Pumped Up Kids? Yeah. All the other kids. No, that's not my favorite song. My favorite song is Here We Go Again. I'll show you it. It's much easier. And, once again, this is kind of like every so often it changes. So, right now, this is my favorite song, Here I Go Again. So, yeah. Enjoy. Will Gaijin add in flex tape as a repair kit for ground vehicles and naval vehicles? I hope so. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, flex tape is the strongest tape. I mean, you can even tape together boats. Or like if you... What's that one that JonTron did? The guy like sewed a boat in half and then he put it together with flex tape. And then it actually worked. I mean, yeah. Why not? It would be cool if they did that for like April Fools or something. Tits or ass? I fluctuate. Right now, probably tits. Woman or woman? Always love a strong woman. Are women property? Nope. Muammar Gaddafi? Do you know what the Vectrix is? Now this worries me. Vectrix is a vector display-based video game console. Oh, is it like one which plays old school Atari games? I was really worried that this was going to be a sexual thing and I'd have to blur this out. Yeah, this looks like something to play old Atari stuff. I mean, that's kind of cool. That was way before my time. Trap or trap? You gotta love traps. Am I a trap? Nah, I have a penis. Milk than cereal or cereal than milk? Cereal than milk every time. Don't be a heathen. Do you know why I love your content? Me neither. Well, it just is how it is. Sometimes you just need a soothing voice to fall asleep to. Why is Fabi slacking off? I don't know. Ask him. Is it rape if she moans? Oh my dear. Yes, it is still rape. Is it gay if you're wearing socks? Now that is a good question. I think so, yes. And then lobster getting in there. Why shouldn't the US invade Canada? Because it's too cold here and nothing goes on. You're basically invading to have a piece of land which nobody wants anyway. I mean, if the case was that, Canada was this big prize thing, there would be more people living here than just 30 million, or however many it is. What's a Canada? I think it's a country. You might have to check. I'm not that creative, Peshka. Why hasn't the US invaded Canada yet? Same thing. Have you ever, or do you plan on visiting Australia? I am going to go to New Zealand in the next few years, and the reason for this is I have family out there. I don't think I have family in Australia, and I also don't think it's real. And Aussie Mandingo confirmed that it wasn't real, so yeah. I think New Zealand is a better bet, since I know it exists. Do you plan to go to Gamescom? Nah, it's too far away. I have other stuff to do. I actually have a job and stuff, so I can't just up and leave and go and do things like that. I actually have to work, so I can't just potter about. I've got to make money. Do you come from the land down under? I wish. Seems like quite a lot of fun down there, and also, people are a lot more chill. Do you miss the rains down in Africa? Rains down in Africa. I do want to go to Africa at some point, but maybe when the racial tensions die down a bit. I would actually like to go to Nigeria, and we are planning to go to Egypt as well to see all the historical stuff. What's your favorite kind of Ritz cracker? I don't eat Ritz crackers. I do eat other types of crackers though, and generally cracked garlic and cracked garlic, and black pepper crackers are the best. Have you blessed the rains? I've tried. I failed. Chinu number one or Taiwan number one? Oh, China number one. I think China's better. Favorite song? Already done it. Here I go again right now. If you want a different one, probably Thunderstruck by AC/DC or Rakadaka. Do you think Russian bias exists? I think the stock grind on a lot of Russian vehicles is easier than others, but apart from that, no, not really. I think they just have they fit the game really well, just like the Germans do, and the Americans to a point. But the Americans have a worse stock grind for a lot of their vehicles, so it doesn't seem like it, and the Germans have issues when it comes to once again the stock grinds, where the Russians don't really. Would you walk 500 miles? And I know I'm gonna be the man who walks back home with you. Yeah, I do like that song. I think it's a good song, especially if you've watched not Talladega Nights. Oh god, I can't remember the show. It's called Something Nights, and it's about like a pub in England, and it's a comedy thing, and they did a cover of it, I think is the best way to say it. Can I give you 3 steps? Sure. Okay. Why is my profile picture the best one here? If this is anything... I should stop clicking on stuff. Have you ever fired a gun, and if so, did you like it? Yeah, I used to gun in England. We would go and shoot with shotguns. Over in Canada, I haven't fired a gun, but no, I've fired plenty of double barrels and stuff like that. Basically, pheasant shooting. I grew up in the country, so that's what we did: pigeons, pheasants, and all that type of thing. I was involved in clay pigeon shooting, and also when the shoots came around. So yeah, I've fired a bunch of different shotguns, and there are a few back home with my name on it. Has a gun ever fired you, and did it call you afterwards? No, it was very mean, and it fired both barrels right into me, destroying my heart, and then left me for a pistol. How can North Korea be under a dictatorship if it's the Democratic People's Republic of Korea? That's what I'm asking. People just can't read, can they? They look at the Kim Jong-un dude, or the Kim Il-sung, whoever it is, can't remember right now. It's been a long time on this Q&A, and they can't see it on the wall, right? It says Democratic People's Republic. It's a democracy. It's not a dictatorship. It's not like there's one fat man ruling over all the skinnies. Nah. Does Korea exist? I think so. It would be kind of interesting if it doesn't, kind of like Australia. Is communism good? No. I'll do a long form video at some point on that. I don't like how communists have to make up definitions to make their worldview make sense. And then, even then, when they do that, it still falls apart. Does this question exist? We're having a lot of existential questions today, aren't we? And yes, it does. Does this taste funny? Tongue's a bit dry right now. When will the next Soviet Union emerge? Depends, actually. I bet you any money if China starts screwing about more, because right now it's screwing about in Africa a lot. If you look at all the Chinese businesses, they're buying up a lot of Canada, a lot of Africa, and a lot of New Zealand. So I think it'll get to the point where the Soviets will get annoyed and band up to fight back. But whether that happens or not, I mean, it's kind of under America's discretion. It's very much, the way I see it is America and Russia have this tug of war, and while this is going on, China's just slipping under and doing everything else, buying everything up. So yeah, economic warfare, I think, is the way to look at it. Why is Big Brother watching us? Because you have a beautiful face, and he wants to play with his Slim Jim. Do you hate the NSA? I don't like shady stuff. It's kind of as simple as that. I understand why agencies like that are shady. I just wish they weren't as shady and they didn't lie. And the way that they lie to the general public is quite astonishing. Is the Earth flat? It's up for debate, innit? If we're being serious, no. If we're not, I've seen a lot of flat Earth posters around my area right now, and it's kind of worrying. I don't know if people are doing it as a joke or if they are actually serious, so we're gonna have to see. Have you ever put your dick in an anthill for a bet? No, not yet. Depends on the money though. Give me a decent amount, let's do it. Is BB flat? I mean, I've never seen his chest, or her chest. I've never had a look. Any thoughts on the SU-25 Frogfoot and the A-10? I know that they were testing them, and hopefully one day they do get into the game. I think they'll be good additions. They'll be annihilated by the AA, the radar AA, but overall I think it'll be kind of fun. Is the best kind of titty the kind that is in front of you? No, the best kind is your wife's, because if you say anything else, you'll get hit. Is this an accurate representation of anyone who plays Japanese ground vehicles? Sure. If you don't know who that is, it's comic book guy dressed up as Sailor Moon. If War Thunder is so good, why isn't there a War Thunder 2? Now, that is the true question. Why isn't there a League of Legends 2, just like there is a Dota 2? I mean, technically, if you want to be serious, like Daegor Engine getting updated basically creates a War Thunder 2. Holy hell. When will Despacito 2 come out? That's the question everyone is asking, and I'm not surprised, because it was a massive hit on YouTube, even though the song is the most generic crap you'll ever listen to. But I think it's one of those things where if they ever do a follow-up, it's never going to be as bad as the original. As the original. Do you remember Gangnam Style? Do you remember what came after that? The Gentleman song? Yeah. We don't want a Despacito 2. It's not a good idea. Should I sleep? Probably, Fabi. Does Despacito 2 have Battle Royale? I think it was confirmed, yes, at the Nintendo conference recently. Am I real? Nope, definitely a figment of your imagination. Which would be incredible, wouldn't it, if all of this was just made up. Will War Thunder 2 Battle Royale be for GameCube or not? I think they're trying to release it on the Super Nintendo first, and then they'll have to expand to the GameCube. May need a bit more RAM. Are you a lizard man? I don't think so. I'll have to ask my dad. Thoughts on more single-player missions for aircraft and tanks, possibly? Would love them, as I said to your other question, Slavian. Why are you so nice? That's not allowed on the internet, you handsome man. I don't know. I like being nice to people. Sometimes I do get annoyed. You just haven't seen it. Should I use my bow for striking and parrying in melee combat? If it has metal tips, yes. What is Russian bias and who put it in my name? The Russian bias used to be the i6, but now I'd say it's the T-44-100. Which Stalker game is the best? The first one. Could a sword whip work as a combat weapon? A sword whip? What, you mean like out of Metal Gear? Like stuff like that? I mean, maybe. I don't think it'd be very effective, though. Whips never really caught on. Why do bullets do their job only after being fired? I know, it just sucks, right? Why can't they get their lazy asses out the barrel before I have to kick them out? Is Stalker a good enough game to get a Stalker 3? Yes. I personally think so, yes. If Metro, because Metro's getting a new game, right? So Stalker should too, in my opinion. Is the KV-6 a weapon to surpass Metal Gear? I mean, it's pretty similar to Metal Gear, isn't it? Which is kind of worrying. But I think so, yes. What is love? I think we've already been through this. I think this time we'll say Asmongold. Asmongold is love. Asmongold is life. Why weren't you in Infinity War? I mean, I could have been the Hulk, right? Or I could have been the infamous, the Inglorious Blob. But unfortunately, I wasn't charismatic enough for the interview. Could you have stopped Thanos by asking nicely, but no? I would have tried to ripped his arm off, but I would have tried to say, I would have tried to reason with him that his plans are just ridiculous, but it is how it is. What do you prefer, Marvel or DC? I prefer. How do I say this? I prefer DC, but the more recent stuff is Marvel. So the core concepts of stuff like Batman and all of the other characters in DC are really cool, like Wonder Woman and stuff like that. Marvel, right now, if we just look at the movies, is just killing it compared to DC. And the issue with DC is that they have Superman. And Superman, to me, is a character that should have never been born because it just ruins everything that can ever happen in the DC universe if you ever say that they're all in the same universe. Because it's the question, where is Superman? Why isn't he helping? Superman is all-powerful. And it sucks. Why would you shave your beard? If I went to a warmer climate, or I got an infection. Will Deadpool be in the next Infinity War? It doesn't really fit the demographic, but I'd hope so, at least in a cameo. Will you ever fix the camera? The camera is not the issue. As you've seen for an hour and 40, the camera is not the issue. The issue is Windows 10. Is your camera working? Right now, yes. Will you wear your Ushanka every time they release something Russian from now on? It looks great. The time that I wear it is when it's cold in my house. So if it's cold every time something Russian is released, sure. Have you played Warship Gunner 2? No, I haven't. I'm not singing the Soviet anthem. When will you make a Naval Ops Warship Gunner 3? I'll try. Should I get a better job? If you believe it, yes, you should. You should always try and strive to be the best person you can. Why would your mods delete questions if you said all questions are welcome? Because I said no racist stuff. Admiral Nichols. By the way, if you don't know who Admiral Nichols is, he's the resident Satan, because you may think my voice is low, or you may think Bad Mofo's voice is low, but Nichols is on a completely separate level. Like, it's impressively low, and I want to get him to read horror stories. I think it fits perfectly. Why are we still here? Just to suffer? Exactly. That is why we live, to suffer. How can anyone be a virgin if we've all been in vaginas? Because... I'm not going to answer that. Screw it. How do I already know you won't answer all these questions? Well, that's where you're wrong, Nichols. That's where you're wrong. Actually, no, I'm going to go back and answer that one. Because, well, okay, none of us are virgins since we leave the womb. What about cesarean section, though? Are those people virgins? I think they are. Quite a lot of people get cesarean sections nowadays, so that's something to think about. Are we still doing this? It seems like it. Were you secretly involved in the cancellation of Star Wars Battlefront 3? No, but I hope EA loses the damn license, because Battlefront 2 and Battlefront are two really good games and really fun games. I still go back to them now and play them. The new ones are crud, to be honest. Favorite tank plane in War Thunder and in real life? In War Thunder, it is the Hurricane for the plane. For the tank, as I said, right now it's the Ho reproduction, but it does change quite a lot. In real life, I've definitely got to say the Cromwell tank and the either the Halifax or the Hurricane. Take your pick. Favorite Pop-Tart flavor? I've only had one Pop-Tart ever, and it was disgusting, so I never had one again. It was white colored and just tasted like sugar and heat, and it was disgusting. Why is it illegal to be a trans age if it's current year? What do you mean, like I identify as an 80-year-old? I'm sure once you get past 18, then yeah, you can. I don't know. That's a good question. We should talk to Trudeau about it. Light liquor or dark? Really depends on what mood I'm in. I really like whiskey. I have a penchant for whiskey. So, whiskey. And then beer. I've been drinking a lot more cider, though. Cider, actually. Cider and whiskey are my two big alcohols. Is this America? Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now. I can't stand that song. I understand what it stands for, but I'm not American, so it's just boring as hell. Like, I get it. Like, it's a cool video and all that, but Lord in heaven, we have more? Okay, what are we... Okay, I still have an hour and a half before I have to do something, so we have time. Whiskey or scotch? I'm going to say whiskey, even though they're basically the same. Or even are the same. Yanni or Laurel? I want to see why this thing has... Are you talking about the shampoo? Or is this an anime thing I don't know about? Because, wait, it didn't copy. Sometimes Discord screw with that, like it won't copy. Oh, this one. Oh, I've never actually watched this, and I'm not going to watch it. I'll just say L'Oreal. Or Laurel. If we're talking about shampoo brands, L'Oreal's wonderful, though. Is a woman if she looks like and is the weight of a whale? Yes, she's just an obese woman. You gotta love them all. Get in there, buddy. Get in there, soldier. Which year did you like the best out of the selection? Oh, how old was I? So we're talking about 10 years ago. Probably when I was 16, because after GCSEs, we had a ton of parties, we got hammered. I had a pretty cool girlfriend at the time who turned out to be crazy, but we had a really good time over the summer and for a year after. And then it was before the pain of studying started. GCSEs to me was stressful for like 4 months, and then for 6 years straight, it was just stress. So that was the last time I was not stressed to do with education. Nowadays, I don't, but if we're talking about that time period, yeah, 2009, yeah. Since you've came out of your cage, have you been doing just fine? Yes. Please define Canada. It's where all the rejects went, and we made a nice place and want everybody else to leave us alone. That is a request? Yeah, Canada is a place where it is not what it seems to people on the outside. Can you make a video titled Top 10 Kill Steals Ever? No, because I couldn't be asked to find 10. Kinda has Shekel? Nah, baby, you gotta make it yourself. When will you duo with Drake? I mean, all he has to hit me up, but he did get slammed by that other rapper pretty hard, so I think he's in the doldrums. He might commit suicide. But maybe if he recovers from that. Personally, I would love to duo, if he was still alive, with Biggie. I'd love to chat with Biggie. I think that would be really fun. Which late 1800s nation had the best military uniforms in your opinion? Well, I'm always going to go with the British, because the British did have the best uniforms, and it's not an opinion. It's truth, it's fact. Why has God forsaken us? Well, you can tell by all of these questions you're asking, can't you? Give me shekel. No nickels. Sit down, Satan. The Zulu warrior. Is Osama bin Laden still alive? It's an interesting conspiracy theory, isn't it? And I'm not going to get into it too much, but I mean, the whole thing's dodgy to me. I'll just say he's dead to avoid controversy. Is Donald Trump a good president? He seems to be doing pretty well. I mean, I can't even imagine dealing with the backlash that he does, but if you actually look at the country as a whole, now that people have died down and stopped breaking shit, yeah, America seems to be doing pretty well. And whether that's to do with him or whether that's to do with someone else, I mean, he's at least, we can say, facilitating it. The Korean stuff is really interesting. The Middle East stuff, I don't agree with, but I understand the reasoning. Standing up to the EU, the European Union, hell yeah. Smash him, Donald. Smash him. But overall, I think he's doing alright. He seems to be doing alright. I prefer him over Trudeau. At least he stands for stuff. Nichols, is Donald Trump a thick boy? I mean, he has a wide load, doesn't he? And it's not a bad wide load. If Donald Trump is so good, why hasn't there been a Donald Trump 2? I mean, you have his son, right? But his son just looks like a crackpot, so I don't know. It's okay, it's hard for me too. Oh, you're talking about English? Fair enough. How can people say Fallout 76 is going to be good if they've never played Fallout 5 to 75? It's a decent question, isn't it? And I think it's because the hype machine is real. Do you think Weeaboos are satisfied now? I don't think they'll ever be satisfied. But for now, their thirst is quenched. Serious question. Oh, thank God. What is your favourite World War II battle, and what is your favourite non-World War II battle? For World War II, it's very easy to say the Normandy beaches, like D-Day, Operation Overlord, and especially the battles at Pointe du Hoc, I find incredibly interesting. But I would probably say the Battle of Cherbourg, because that was the key to taking France, in my opinion, being able to unlock a massive port, and they went for Cherbourg, then they went for Caen. Once they got them, all done. Those two battles are really interesting to me. Favourite non-World War II battle? Battle of Agincourt is one that always comes to mind, but I'd probably say the Battle of 1066 between Harold Godwinson and William the Conqueror. If somebody today completely built a paper tank exactly to design, paper tank like the German Low for example, would you be okay with the vehicle's implementation into War Thunder? No, because we don't know what that design would have created, or if there would have been issues with it later on, because if you look at any... Sorry, I've got a ton of crap in my eyes. If you look at any paper tanks or design tanks, they go through so many iterations once they're built because there's a lot of issues with them going from the design stage to the prototype stage, which a lot of people forget about. So if somebody wants to put in a paper vehicle like the Low, yeah, go ahead. I'll be annoyed with it. Am I against it? Yes, because there's a lot of complications which happen due to it. And a lot of people overlook them because they want the cool tank. And also it'll be premium, so have a look fun to that. Everyone has a price. What's yours? I'd probably say about $362,000. When do we all die? When we feel like it. When we lose hope. Never lose hope. Should get low, low, low. That's a good song, actually. Would you be okay with the Schwer Gustav added into the game? No. Have you ever tried Earl Grey tea? I'm British, of course I have. I've tried every single damn tea. Topol M tank when? No. When T14? Not yet. I don't actually want to see the T14, but but maybe one day. Okay, I think it was a bad idea to ask us. Was it good for you? So far, my voice is hurting, but I'm feeling brilliant, baby. When was this ever a good idea? When I started it? Why are we... Already answered that, come on. Oh my god, we're nearly at the end. What is the meaning of life? To reach your destiny. To have fun. To do what you want. That's it. It's as simple as that. Go do it. Is the opposite of moron lesson or more off? I wish. Those are two really cool words. I feel very cold at room temperatures. Am I sick and or dying? No, I feel that too. That's because room temperature is less than your body's general temperature, so you are going to feel cold. When is the next World War? I'd give it at least 10 years. Will the EU fail? It's propped up by so many stuff now, I don't think it will fail. Do I believe it should? Yes, I think it should be torn apart. If olive oil is made from olives, then what is baby oil made of? Well, obviously, you'll have to ask the Indonesian sweatshop workers. Am I always bored? Fabi, you entertain me. So, maybe. That's up to you. Can fat people skinny dip? Now, these are the true questions of our time. And I suppose yes. Why does my PP get hard? PB get hard when I see a pretty lady? Or sometimes a guy. Maybe you should go talk to them. Why am I a mistake? We all are. That's what you'll find out at the end of the day. We all are, and you must live with it. Why is Germany? I don't know. Germany is a very odd place. I'd rather they go back to their barbarian heritage. We sometimes hear your woman. Why do you keep her in a cage so close to your computer? Is it because you need to make sure she doesn't escape? My wife has free will, okay? She's allowed to do what she wants. And she's a lot of fun, if you have heard her on the Discord before. Why is Gamora? No idea. Why? Where? When? What? How often? To what extent? Her? Who? Is this really what we've got to now? Was the Q&A a mistake? No. No, Nichols, I don't want your dick. When does Discord 2 come out? You'll have to ask the original creators. Will MySpace ever make a comeback? That dude screwed up by not selling that. Holy hell. When will I become president? When you start running? Why do you put up with this Discord? Because, it's technically mine, so that's why. When will this Discord be deleted? Only if it ever gets taken down. I will never delete this unless it gets taken down by the up-aboves. When will I be deleted? Well, that's up to you. Have you ever played any of the Twisted Metal games? I'll have to have a look. Doop, doop. No, I haven't actually. I have no idea about these. They look kind of interesting though. They look old as hell. So yeah, this might be an issue. Will we ever get another season of The Office? I really hope we get a British one. I miss the British one. Why did you do this? Because I'm going to do this every time, and it's going to take me ages to do it, but hopefully next time I'm going to have some food, because I haven't eaten for like all day, and I've only had one glass of water, so I might prepare a bit better for the 8K. Do you think Discord's terms of service needs additional clarification and or reformation? From a user's point of view, yes, I would like some more clarification. From a owner's point of view, I understand why they don't do it, because a lot of companies now do it where their rules are basically set up so you can ban whoever you want for any reason. So, yeah, that's something to think about. Where are my tendies? In 7-Eleven. What is your favorite Star Trek series? Next Generation? Chicken nuggets or strip? Strip. Why am I so autistic? The world can only tell. Should I buy this villain? Even though I'm opposed to it being in-game? If you think it's going to be fun, right? At the end of the day, the game is about fun. So if you think it's going to be fun, you should get it. I don't think it will disappear from the store anytime soon. So if you I'm going to look at it on the dev server, or at least I'm going to try to if it's available to me, and then I'll be able to show you it and if you want to buy it or not. So at least wait till then. But yeah, it's really up to you. If you want to, if it's not going to be a grinder, so it's going to have to be something you enjoy. So if you think you're going to enjoy it, you should get it. It's also the cheapest out of the premiums they've shown. I just want it in my collection. Fair enough. Zvilling is an R2Y2 level abomination. Are you okay? Not necessarily in support of paper tanks that are designed entirely with already existing and produced parts, including guns, engines, being implemented as a premium of some kind. Not really. We're basically defining here where my line is for paper tanks, and my line is firmly on the prototype end of it. So even if you got all of the parts together, you still could have issues with stuff like the superstructure. So therefore, no, I would not be okay with it. Will you eventually do a Let's Play of Rondo Duo? Will you end the Q&A on this question? Or this one? There you go. We will end it on Peshka's question. I just want to see what this is. Oh, this is worrying. Oh god. Weeboo stuff. I do need to... There is a game called Doki Doki that I do need to play, and I will play. I'm just working out whether I want to do the voices or not. Peshka, you're so awesome. Just restating them at the end. But yeah, so at the end of this video, how long have we been doing it? Just around about 2 hours. This will be the ending points. Thank you all for watching. If you have any other questions, you can always put them in this video. I'll try and answer them for you. And if not, hit me up on Discord or hit me up in the comments section on a video. I always read comments and stuff like that, so if you ever have anything that you want to say or want to ask, go for it. I'm always there. Have a wonderful day.